Good evening. It's Wednesday night, and obviously, I'm going to talk about what's going to happen next week because obviously, a little bit of hype has begun from some other outlets talking about Thanksgiving storm threat. If you remember, I started mentioning the pattern was setting up for a favorable setup over Thanksgiving. I think I first mentioned that early this week or over the weekend that the upper air pattern looked good. Since then, I've been mentioning that some things have changed. In order for us to really get a storm that produces snow, every chip has to line up perfectly. So I don't think that's very likely. I think what's likely is you're going to either see a storm that goes out to sea or cuts too close to the coast that it causes rain for our area. But in any event, it's a lot to watch. There's a lot of players on the field, and real quick, just want to go through what's actually projected to happen. So we're going to start with the European. And this is coming through this weekend. And this weekend's going to be brutally cold towards Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You're going to see temperatures in some spots not even break freezing. This will be the first taste of winter air coming through this weekend. And then the storm system's going to come. It's going to originate from a southern system that, if you notice, was rolling across the southern plains. It's going to try to reorganize near the Gulf. And you have a northern clipper that's going to try to dive down and possibly phase. Now, this is a European model this afternoon. You can see it has a storm just offshore. It doesn't have much cold air with it. It gives us rain just offshore, and it really doesn't do a good job of phasing the two systems. The GFS, little closer to the coast, or a little more offshore, should I say? I apologize. It actually keeps our area spared of any precipitation, and this actually corrected inland a little more from the latest run. This storm, if it develops, is going to be due to, again, I mentioned two jet stream features. This is just an upper air map that shows where is the disturbances in the upper levels of the atmosphere, so where the ingredients for the storm originating from. You can see this is valid Tuesday, Wednesday. Here's your one disturbance, here's your second disturbance. It all is going to depend on when do these two disturbances phase. If they phase more inland, you have an inland running storm. If they phase more out to sea, similar to you see here, you have a storm that just tracks just off the coast. If they phase in the perfect spot, which this isn't showing, but more of a phase in the middle, a little earlier, meaning this system has to dive down further down to the southern states, then you can potentially see a snowstorm for our area. But right now, not so convinced, and let me show you why. This basically right here is I'm going to show you what the GFS looks like versus the European, because the GFS is a little more out to sea than the European. And the major players that you're going to see here on the field are going to be this area of high pressure out in the Atlantic, okay, this area of high pressure over the Hudson Bay area. Any deviation to the left, to the right, in this high pressure system is going to influence this track of the storm because it's really carving out the pathway for this. So if the high pressure backs off, the storm goes out to sea. If the high pressure moves back in towards the inland, the storm cuts up into the lakes. For us to really have a snow-producing storm, both these features, along with some other features that I'm not mentioning, have to come together perfectly so the storm takes the perfect track just over the 60-40 benchmark, which is the latitude-longitude, out like that. And that's really, I mean, a roll of the dice is as good of a guess at that. I will say there's very warm water out in the Atlantic, so there's a nice baroclinic zone along the coast for a storm to develop, so that could be in our favor. But right now, it's really anybody's guess. And I think if you look here now, one second, if you look here at the European, you're not going to really notice the difference. But basically, European, which is a little more inland, this high pressure system is a little more to the west than the GFS. So we're talking a difference of 20, 30, 40 miles in these upper scale features to dictate the path of this storm. So again, anybody who's trying to predict this now is crazy. It can't be done. I think by the weekend, it would be appropriate to take a stance on this. I'll probably put out a map what I think is going to happen. Again, it's either going to be out to sea or probably an inland runner. I don't see snow for our area being I-95 corridor, big cities, even north and west. I don't really see snow in the New Jersey area. I hope I'm wrong because I love to see snow, but I just don't see it happening right now. You do not have high pressure over Greenland, which makes things a lot easier when you do because it makes a more amplified trough. You don't have to depend upon these features to set up perfectly for a storm to develop with the North Atlantic Oscillation. So I'll keep an eye on it. Just remember it's going to get very, very cold next week due to a polar front that's going to come in ahead of this storm. And we'll see. Maybe that warm Atlantic Ocean will cause the upper scale features to set up in the right spot and give us some snow. But right now I'm not too confident. But there will be a storm affecting someone in this area. Whether it's just the southern states that goes out to sea or inland northeast remains to be seen. Thanks for checking in.